Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the virtual tour of the State Record Center. State Record Center is part of the Records Management Branch, Archives Division, Department of Accounting and General Services. My name is Gina Vergara Bautista. With me today assisting is Susie Aquino, our Office Assistant 4. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to put it in chat and Susie or I will try to respond to your questions. There will also be a section at the end of the presentation where you can actually go ahead and ask all of those questions if you wait till then. Okay, so the Records Management Branch has a variety of services to all executive branch agencies. We assist agencies with records management by publishing advice sheets. We also assist you with records retention and disposition schedules. And of course, just like for today, we actually provide records management training. You don't have to wait for us to put out these training sessions. If you have a group of people in your office or your branch who need training, we can go ahead and schedule that for you. And we can make the training actually much, much more relevant to your agency because we can talk about exactly the type of records you're working with. And the big part of today's tour, of course, is the State Record Center. The State Record Center is here to store paper records, master microfilm, and videotapes. We generally pick up from state agencies. And if you're on the neighbor islands and you're general funded, we we probably have enough funds to go ahead and pay for shipment of those records from your facility. We also retrieve and refile records that you have stored here. All you need to do is turn in a request using Versatile Web, and we will go ahead and either send that through Messenger. If you're in the neighbor islands, we will send it to your sister agency here on Oahu, and they could then deliver or find a way to get the information to you. We can also deliver to your office if you want whole boxes of records. If you're here on Oahu, because the messenger actually doesn't take entire boxes. And of course, at the end of the life of the record, we will ask you for permission to destroy. And once you approve destruction, we will go ahead and uh, process that record and then prepare it for destruction. Okay, we're a very small shop. There's only 4 of us right now. Uh, Me, I mentioned Susie, and we also have June Ikeda, our office assistant too, and we have a temporary warehouse worker, John Miles. We have 2 vacant archivist positions. They're very new and they haven't actually been established yet. But we're hoping in the future to have those 2 archivist positions filled so we can actually do more records retention schedule updates because many of our state agencies' schedules are really out of date. And we also want to be able to help with managing electronic records. So let's talk about how we assist agencies with records management. As I mentioned, we publish advice sheets. Uh, these are the 2 that we have. I'd like to highlight. The first one, issued in April 2021, has to do with digitizing non-permanent records. It actually goes through the process of asking you if the records you plan to digitize are worth digitizing. So there's a flowchart in there. And then it'll also tell you that once you digitize those records, you could actually deem the scan or the digital copy to be the official record, and you can go ahead and destroy the paper record. But of course, before you do that, there are some requirements that you need to meet to ensure that access to the information in those records is good throughout its retention period. So we're talking about to make sure that you have redundancy in your system. If the server where you're storing those records goes down, you actually have a backup so that you can still have information on hand when you need it. It also talks about quality assurance to make sure that you are checking that the scans that were created actually completely has all the information. You know, there's nothing cut off at at the edge of the page, or there's nothing that was skipped, or the scans were actually in focus. And then finally, you need to have a way of actually searching through your records to find the records that you need. Searching through electronic records without any indexing or file naming convention is actually much, much harder than searching through paper records. So that needs to also be in place before you can destroy the paper records. The next advice sheet has to do with live videos on Facebook. Facebook recently announced that they're no longer keeping those live videos indefinitely. So if the type of live videos that you have published on your Facebook site is considered public relations file. It's a way for you to communicate to the public what your agency is doing. Those types of records have permanent retention, and you do need to preserve those live videos before Facebook uh, doesn't allow you to access them anymore. So the advice there is to actually call the state archives, and the phone number is on the end of that page, and they will actually assist you in preserving those live videos. These advice sheets are on the Hawaii State Archives website. You have to scroll down, look under the heading um, Managing Government Records, and it should be listed there, and you can find the link. The other thing that we do is help agencies create, update, and also abolish records retention schedules. Um, there is a training session tomorrow about that. If you haven't signed up, put your name on chat or email us at recordcenter@hawaii.gov, and Susie will actually send you the link or the invite again so you can sign up. So this is what an SA1 looks like. This is a new retention schedule for Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. As you can see, it's signed off by the division head, the departmental records officer, let's see, the department head, the state archivist, and of course the comptroller. Once the comptroller signs this form, your records retention schedule is in effect and you can go ahead and use it. Many times this process takes a little bit of time depending on all the moving parts, all the different people who are involved in creating, updating, or abolishing the retention schedule. Okay, as I mentioned, we do records management training and tours, and we're actually towards the middle of this training session. We usually do these around April because it's Records and Information Management Month. But like I said, if you need it for your agency, please get in touch with us and we will set that up for you. The other thing that we're trying to do, hoping we'll have more archivists to help us do this, is to work with ETS in order to uh, essentially manage records that are in our Microsoft type products. So I'm thinking mostly of SharePoint or Teams. Many of us are actually working with Born Digital records now, and we're actually putting them in our SharePoint sites. We need to be able to add retention through Microsoft Purview in order to manage those records. So you don't need to manually do it yourselves. So we're working on that, and hopefully soon we will have something that's usable for all executive branch agencies. Okay, of course, the star of the show for today is the tour of the State Record Center. Record Center is located at 729B Cocoy Street. We are this purple area here. We share the building with Central Services. And I do know that people hear about floods. I'm putting my cursor in the area that sometimes gets flooded. We don't get flooded generally, so your records are safe with us. These are pictures of the State Record Center. The shorter part of the building here is the front office. The taller section, of course, is the warehouse. On the other side here is the loading dock, is where your records generally enter into our warehouse building. The State Record Center was built in 1976. There's 14,360 square feet of space. We can store more than 55,000 cubic foot boxes. We do have a fire suppressant system for the warehouse, a fire suppressant system for the microfilm vault. The building is secure and monitored 24/7, so it's very safe. For people who are visiting us, we do require badges to essentially verify your identity. If there are people working in our warehouse, like replacing lights, uh, what else do they do? Inspecting our sensors, they are generally, our staff actually make sure that they are accompanied by someone so that they are not able to look at the records in our warehouse that are stored in our warehouse. So what do we generally do here at the State Record Center? Well, looking at the records life cycle, we see that for the most part, agencies are really good about creating or receiving records in the course of government business. They're very good at using and filing those records while they're still active. But the area, the yellow section here is where a lot of us have a lot of issue. And that has to do with what to do with the records after they have exhausted their usefulness in our offices. So sometimes we have boxes and boxes of records. Sometimes we have a file room that has a lot of records. But I think many agencies need to know how long they need to retain that information, whether or not they could actually temporarily store it at the State Record Center, and then, of course, when to destroy them legally. And then the top part here, I didn't put it in yellow because it's not a State Record Center function, is if those are permanent records, whether or not you're actually sending them to the state archives for preservation and access, long-term access. The capacity of the State Record Center is 55,000 plus boxes. Right now, we have room to store 17,000 plus boxes. So if in the past you were turned away because the State Record Center was full, that's no longer an issue, and we welcome you into sending those boxes to us for storage. This is what the record center looks like. The reason why we are so much more efficient in terms of storing records is because we're vertical. We have up to 13 levels of storage in the warehouse, and therefore the cost to store is so much less than if you stored it in your office or if you went ahead and stored it at a third party uh, vendor who does storage for you. Because for general funded agencies, it's free. For a special fund, University of Hawaii, and a few other agencies, unfortunately, there is a small fee for storing your records. Okay, how are records transferred to the State Record Center? First of all, you need to apply retention to those records. No retention schedule, no storage, because we need to know how long we're supposed to keep those records for you. So let's look at an example here. This is official personnel folders. And I selected this because all of us have our own official personnel folders as state workers. So the retention schedule says retention is 30 years. You need to retain it in your office for 3 years, and then you can go ahead and store your records at the State Record Center. So looking at records from 2020 all the way to present, it's telling you here, applying retention, that records of people who retired or separated service in 2020, you could box and store them at the record center. 2021 is the same, but the rest of these, you need to wait to make sure that you meet the 3-year requirement of you holding on to these records in your office for 3 years. And the reason why there are retention schedules that tell you that you need to retain it in office for so many years is because at that point they're still active. You need to do something to those records in order to process either probably someone's retirement benefits. So holding it in for 3 years is good because once you transfer it to the state record center, you can request for it, but it will, you know, it's not immediately in your hands. It will take maybe a day or so to get to you. So once you box those records up and you have them stacked up and ready to go, that's when you actually do one more step. You need to fill in, sorry, I need to go backtrack. You need to actually follow our guidelines in terms of how to pack those records. So there's a guidelines out on our website, and I'm not sure if I sent you a copy also. It's called Storage of Inactive Paper Records. I'll just go over some of the highlights. Um, we request that you use heavy-duty banker's boxes in order to store your records. And that is because if you are going to be requesting these records often, if the boxes are very flimsy, they either may not make it, if we're always pulling those boxes, or even during transit, when we're picking up those records, those boxes might already fall apart. We ask that you pack the boxes this way, leave a little bit of room, about 1 inch space per box, so that when you request a file, we don't have a hard time pulling a folder out of it because it's not so tight. If you're sending us letter size records, select a front short end for your box. That's where you're going to put your label. And make sure that the tabs face front so that when June, our office assistant who does most of the pulling, pulls a box, she doesn't have to go ahead and flip that box over or twist it so that she can get to the front part of your box. If you're sending us legal files, we ask you to do the same, leave 1 inch space, select a front, and the tab should be facing right. Same thing so that when she pulls that box, she doesn't have to turn the box around to see the tabs to find the record that you're requesting. So in the past, we asked that you use only the middle or the second labeling section here. But because we are now putting RFID tags on our boxes instead of using the top section, you're welcome to use both of these areas to label your boxes. If you do need to repair your box, something happened while you're packing, if it's in the section that you're going to be writing over, please don't use shiny tape. Your Sharpie ink will not stick or adhere to that surface. And of course, It's in your interest to create some sort of indexing for those records, especially if they're like case files or official personnel folders. With our new warehouse management system, you're actually able to send us file records information. If you do that, when you request for a file, you can actually search for that file and specifically ask for it instead of trying to figure out, okay, the person retired in 2020, the alphabet that I'm looking for because the surname starts with is S. So I'm going to look for 2020 boxes with the letters, the surname's S in it. So if you have specific file listing per box, and we upload that information into our database using the ARM5A form or by using the Versatile Web Entry form, you can search for that information. Now, after you've packed your boxes, you've sent us either the ARM5 and or the ARM5A form or submitted a records or sorry, request to store information through Versatile Web, we will then set up shipment or pickup service. So if your records are on the neighbor islands, if they're large, meaning you have, I don't know, maybe like 500 or so boxes, maybe 1,000 boxes, and you are a general funded agency, and we will assist you in helping you pay for a shipment, we need to contact a vendor. Um, if it's Young Brothers, they actually have 20-foot containers on their base yard, and you can actually on the pier probably, and we can actually contact or you will contact them, but you will tell them that we are the receiver of those records, and then they'll give you a quote. You need to tell us about how much it is to make sure we can actually afford it, and then they will probably tell you that you personally need to go and drop off those records to Young Brothers. They and put it into that 20-foot shipping container for it to be sent to the state record center. Actually, they don't send it to the state record center. We need to pick it up from their site. We also have actually transferred some records from Maui all the way here to the record center. And that was about 1,300 boxes. So what happened was we actually got a vendor to go to their site and truck the records to their base yard in order for them to put it in shipping containers. Because there are about 1,300 boxes, it took them two 20-foot shipping containers to send it to Oahu. We paid for shipping for those records, and they did deliver it to the State Record Center, and their staff actually offloaded it from the trucks on pallets and then put it into our warehouse. But we were the ones to unpack those records. So we could do that too. It all depends on the size of your shipment, whether or not you have enough, so we could actually get them to put a shipping container on your base yard or in your next to your office, and then you folks just put the records in. In a few days, they come pick it up, and then they ship it to Honolulu. When it gets here, and there are those big containers, they will actually bring it all the way to our warehouse and offload. If it's small, we're talking about 50, maybe 100 boxes. You can actually set it up with us so that we can send it through Young Brothers. So in the Young Brothers base yard, they have those smaller shipping containers, and they will actually say, okay, we have a shipping container. This one's going to go to Oahu. This one's going to go to Maui. This one's going to go to wherever. And what they'll do is they'll just have the customers put in those boxes in those shipping containers themselves. So we've had a shipment from Kauai who did that. I think they sent us a little over 40 boxes, and they just put it in there. When it arrived in Honolulu, Young Brothers contacted us. We got our van. We went to the pier, and we actually picked up all 40 plus boxes that they sent us. That can be done too. So it all depends on how many uh, and how soon you want to ship the records. But if you're going to do this, please contact us and we'll work with you to do so. For people who are sending us records here on Oahu, we do have a van that could do uh, pickups. So we could do pickups for you. The van can fit 50 boxes at a time. If you're sending us 200 boxes, it's okay. We can actually come back as many times as needed in order to pick up all 200 of those boxes. But please don't wait till you have 200. Sometimes it's better to just batch it up. I have 50 ready, and then we can go pick it up. And you don't have to wait till you have 50. If you have like 10 boxes and you're ready to go, please contact us and we will schedule pickup with you. After we review your ARM5 and your versatile web submission. So this is what the new ARM5 looks like. It's pretty much a spreadsheet, and it's actually arranged so that we can upload that information directly into Versatile. It makes it really easy for us. In fact, we prefer this ARM5 versus Versatile Web, where you have to enter one box at a time. But because, some agencies only send us 10 or less boxes, sometimes Versatile Web is easier for them rather than doing this. It's your call. But if it's more than 10, please use the ARM5 form. And if you're sending us file information, use the ARM5A form. Both of these forms are downloadable from our website under Records Management Forms. Okay, I already talked about shipment. Okay, when shipment gets to Oahu, as I mentioned earlier, the really big shipload from Maui, the vendor that was hired actually brought their own forklift and offloaded and put all of the pallets into our warehouse. And then they had staff who actually took these pallets and moved them into our warehouse, closer to where they're going to be offloaded and put away on shelf. They had about 8 staffers at that time. So it was, you know, kind of expensive, but very, very efficient. This is what those boxes look like when we were offloading them. As you can see on the right side picture, that's where they parked them inside our warehouse. There were a few that were offloaded in our staging area, and you can see June there. She's actually sorting through the boxes because she has to arrange them before she puts them on shelf and also label them before she puts them on shelf. This is Susie. What she's doing is she's uploading records from submitted using the ARM5A form. ARM5, sorry, ARM5 form. Once she uploads the information once she approves the versatile web entries that you submitted, she's able to generate RFID tags for the boxes. So this is a picture of John. He's labeling those boxes. The labels tells us what the box number is, which agency it came from, what record series it is, what year, and also the location where we will be putting these boxes. If the records use folders that are um, enticing to silverfish. We actually put them in one of these two shipping containers. The shipping container has a slow release pesticide, so we leave the records in there. We put them on wire shelving, and we have the lids taken off. We put them in there. They stay in there for 2 weeks so that the pesticide actually goes into the boxes and hopefully kills any silverfish that might be there. Then, of course, the boxes are taken up into our warehouse, either after fumigation or after being received and labeled, and they're put away. So the next part is after you've stored your records with us, once in a while you will need to retrieve that file because you need it. So how do you do that? Well, first of all, you need to log into your Versatile account. If you don't have one, because you haven't sent us anything or you haven't requested a record since we implemented the system, please email Susie or email us at recordcenter@hawaii.gov and we will establish your account for you. So you will most likely be doing a search. And by the way, as I mentioned earlier, we have a training session for Versatile Web users, and that is going to be on Friday. If you need to sign up for that class because you've never used our system before, please email us at recordcenterhawaii.gov and Susie will send you your credentials. We'll create the account for you and send you your credentials after we get some information from you. So you'll be logging into the Versatile account and submitting records requests that way. Once we receive your requests, we'll actually print out the out card, and then this is a video of June actually trying to retrieving a record. I believe this is on the night shelf using our stock picker. So she pulls out the box. This is the box that you told us through your request to retrieve. She's going to open that box and look for the file that you listed on your request. So she finds the file. She takes the out card and she puts it in place of the file or the record. And then she's going to close up that box and reshelve the box. And there she goes. All right. So what she'll do next is she'll go back to her desk and she'll check out that file for to you, the request store. And she will generate an RFID tag. She'll put it on the folder itself so that when it gets returned to us, we will actually just read that tag. And I believe Susie said she can read multiple tags, as many as a table can fit, at one swoop using our RFID tag reader. And then that means it's checked back in once you return it. In the olden days, we will actually handwrite that information here. And when we receive the file, we actually need to find that record and say that check it back in. So it's a little faster with the RFID system. So once June puts a tag on that folder, she will go ahead and package it for you if we're sending it by messenger. Okay. Now the final part has to do with records destruction. When records meet retention, or soon, maybe a little bit before then, we will send you a request or a notification, disposition authorization request. That means we're asking you for permission to destroy that record in accordance with an approved retention schedule. So this is what that uh, screen looks like when you log into your account. Um, there will actually be listings of items here for you to review and approve. When you do get this, please respond to let us know uh, if we can destroy the record or if the record needs to be held longer or return to your agency. We could do all three depending on what you request. And if the record needs to be held longer, you need to provide us a new disposition date and a reason why you want to extend retention. Once we get your approval, our staff will actually take those boxes down and prepare them for destruction. So this is Chuyev. He worked with us. I think the last time he worked with us was in June of last year. So he's preparing these records for destruction. So when he finishes, what we usually do with these boxes, actually, after he retrieves them, we will double check his work to make sure that he did pull the correct boxes before they get palletized and destroyed. So this is what it looks like, palletized, shrink wrapped, waiting for our contractor to come. The shredding contractor this year is Access. They destroy the records in their facility in Kapolei. So they generally bring one big truck or two small ones to pick up about 10 pallets every month that we have destruction. They do give us a certificate of destruction, and that's what we use in order to update the versatile record saying that the records were destroyed. In the past, we would actually be sending you an ARM4 form, a completed ARM4 form saying that the record was destroyed on this date, the method of destruction, and who destroyed the records. With Versatile Web, what will happen is we will update that record to say that it was destroyed. And when you do searches into your records to see what's there here at the State Record Center, you won't be able to find that record anymore because it's been destroyed. It doesn't mean that the record doesn't exist of its existence. It just means that searching through it will not yield a match for you because what's the point of seeing a record that you can't access? If you need it, you can request a copy of the destruction information from us, and we will create PDF copies of them for you. It's actually just an output from the database, if you so need. Okay, that's actually the end of the tour. Let me know if you have any questions. This is the question and answer part. I do see that Susie has been answering some of your questions. So that's good, Susie. Is there anything else? Susie, any other questions?
No, but if you wanted to cover the um, records eligible for destruction again, just to clarify that the records custodian will receive the email or the notification.
Yes.
Um, in Versatile Web?
So when we send out these notifications, we look at the submission, the original submission, either through an ARM5 form from the olden days, or which we were supposed to have entered into the database, the Access database that we had. When we converted from Access to Versatile, we uploaded all of that data. So unfortunately, some of the retention periods are long, 10 years, 30 years. So when we get to end of life for the record, many times the person who signed off as records custodian is long gone. So many times we would need to contact the agency to see who the new records custodian or the current record custodian. And once we find out who that person is, if that person doesn't have an account on Versatile yet, because they've never asked us for any records, never submitted any records since coming on board, we will create that account and we will send that notification to that person. Does that answer your question, Susie? Or whoever sent that in?
Yes, that was Suzanne's
Okay.
question.
Yes. So that's how it happens, Suzanne. So many times before a big destruction project, that's what Susie will be doing. She'll be contacting the agencies to go, hey, you got these set of records. Who do we send the notification to? Okay, thanks everyone. If there are no more questions at this point, I thank you for your attendance. Please feel free to contact us at any time. You can contact us through web chat, you can call us, you can email us, and we'll try to answer your questions at that point. Please use our services. We are here for you. And if you have any suggestions on how we can improve our services, or if there's something that you need that we're not providing, please let us know. All right. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Hope to see you tomorrow and Friday.
Hold on, Hold on, Gina. There's one more question in the
Oh,
chat.
one more question? Sure. What is it?
Taryn is asking, is it possible to get a copy of these documents on the slideshow? Oh, I'm sorry, Taryn. It should be in the chat, but we can also there will also be a recording of this presentation as well in the chat.
Yes. And since you are on Teams, you have access to that recording. But in the long term, we want to upload them to our, what do you call that? Our YouTube channel and put a link to it on our State Archives website. Because at some point it's going to expire and we need to do something to the recording. And all the documents that I'm referencing should be on our State Archives website also. Okay, thanks everyone. I'm going to stop recording. And if anyone has any questions that they didn't want recorded, you can still ask.